I can't stop thinking about the gosh darn Backrooms. I had a whole video planned on the Wii, but can't stop thinking about the goddamn Backrooms is a psychological, environmental, existential horror thriller musical? No, not that, but indeed a film that came out in theaters this year, directed by young youthful youngster Kane Parsons and distributed by artistic cinema bastion A24, with a plot ripped from your favorite cat video website and a cast your robot uncle could never hope to pronounce. How could it fail? Spoilers, it didn't. When you get to be my age and or have a lot of movies under your belt, you might develop a certain hesitance towards major motion pictures. I've got a limited amount of time on this earth, and the box office has in fact put out some less than stellar projects lately, something I would never do. So when I hear that a big studio is taking a swing at perhaps my all-time favorite cultural phenomenon, don't quote me on that. Let's just say my expectations were extremely tempered. But just as children yearn for the minds, I yearn for the rooms, and so go I went. The film largely takes place in a failing furniture store in the year 1990-ish, until it doesn't. Down on his luck and temperamental sweetheart Clark, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, captains the sinking ship, pun very much intended, making the best of a life that has not quite gone according to plan. Clark has a few skeletons in his closet, but more importantly he has a few closets in his closet, which he discovers when he stumbles through a wall in the store's basement into the Backrooms. It's the Backrooms. What else would it be? I like to think we all just inherently get the Backrooms, even if you don't know them by name. After I saw the film, I had to explain the concept to my mom, who immediately went, "Oh, I used to have dreams like that." Yeah, you did. We were there. We were all there at one point or another, finding ourselves in a space that should not exist. In many iterations of said rooms, they look something like this, assuming that I got the tech working. A sprawling expanse of mislaid chambers and corridors, not quite given a purpose despite their evident, if not questionable, construction. Plain walls and planar floors, fluorescent buzz of overhead lights, empty, save for a smattering of commonplace objects that once held meaning but have long since been abandoned. I was here once, in the back of a department store, in a dream within a dream, in a misplaced memory. It's this juxtaposition, I think, that I find so enthralling, of a place at once so familiar and yet so foreign. I know, of course, how walls should work. I know where chairs should be. Why does their being out of place feel so threatening, fascinating? Enter the Backrooms, where that combined sense of dread and discovery spills on forever, where you'll find your past, find yourself, and find some stones far better left unturned. Parsons brings to life a world in the theater that I want so badly to exist in, like a rat presented with the finest cheese from my childhood, laid out on a dubious silver platter. Why do we always come back to rats on this channel? But we don't get Backrooms 2026 on the big screen without first getting Backrooms found footage on the small screen. It's the start of a 22-part YouTube series from director Kane Parsons himself, exploring the realm in and around these titular halls. I was not a viewer of Kane's series before seeing the film, having maybe only caught a glimpse of the spaghetti monster thing beforehand, but like many others, I came out of the theater needing more, and now I'm playing catch up. Parsons' earliest videos on the matter look a bit shit. The scenery is awash with piss, and the geometry leaves much to be desired. More cardboard walls than structured halls. These are not quite the rooms I see in my dreams. The footage has also been beat with a metaphorical truck, some of which is welcome, even necessary, in the medium and the time it takes place in, and this level of analog distortion hides a few of the rougher edges, but it can also make following along a bit of a chore at times. And of course, this criticism comes with the caveat that Kane is 16 or so at the time, crafting this world from his bedroom, and it's already better than anything I've created in my entire life. This, for comparison, was my final project for a 3D modeling course in college. Wow, it's like I'm really there. But even from minute one, Parsons understands this world and the narrative he's crafting, largely revealed through the strategy of found footage, but not just in the tired sense of, oh man, I hope we don't run into the Blair Witch, but also in the sense of, my coworker Keith just bought his first camcorder and thought brewing his morning coffee was a worthwhile film outing. Kane captures so much mundanity, so much plain authenticity in his constructed world that my disbelief soon needs no suspension. In 1 minute, you're running for your life from an unimaginable horror. Oh, yeah, there's monsters down here. And then the next minute, you're learning about the chemical composition of the ceiling tiles. One finds themselves on the edge of their seat, expecting the next boogeyman, only to be instead drip-fed what little lore might be scraped together from empty halls, corporate ad spots, and techno-nonsense. It's this dichotomy where Parsons thrives, but also where the Backrooms as a concept draw their power. In revealing so much of what seems, on first pass, inconsequential, Parsons creates a world far more representative of our own than we're used to on screen. Lived in because we have no choice but to imagine life within it, connecting dots that float in the ether. Bits and pieces you could swear you've seen before if only you could recall where. You've seen this hall somewhere. Your parents took you once? Heard this muffled authority figure at their job or on TV? I know you've smelled this well-worn carpet and felt these overhead lights buzz into your skull. By the 10th video, Backrooms Pitfalls, we explore a much more realized or perhaps derealized nightmare, breaking not the fourth wall but the fourth floor as we delve deeper into this hell. And you know what? From a production standpoint, it's good. It's really good, even for YouTube, but maybe not the sort of thing I'd hand over a multi-million-dollar film deal for. How do movie contracts even work? Does A24's dad just hand Kane the keys to the Cineplex and say, have at it? Maybe let the kid cook a little more first. Of course, we find our way to found footage number 2, the 15th in line, and I now see what the multiple film studios saw in this guy. Somebody get this kid some keys. Get him the fold-out chair and the beret, the little thing that clacks, because, damn, this is cinema. Already in 2022, Parsons is putting out work on his own that could have been ripped from the cold open of the film itself. The walls no longer piss, the halls rightly amiss, and the character-driven exploration scratching almost precisely the itch that, for whatever reason, won't leave my brain alone. The series keeps going, of course, for 7 more videos, and it does get even better, but I feel like we're up to speed enough to tackle the big dog, Backrooms 2026. I've been careful up to this point to keep my explanations of each work vague, on one hand because I would hate to rob you of experiencing them for yourself, but equally, if not more importantly, because I don't think that analysis is the best way to recount this film. I could explore the lore, revel in the levels, detail the retail working conditions that it draws parallels to, but I don't think any of that's necessary. The creatures are creepy, the story's interesting, if not a little heavy-handed, and the acting is solid, even if they vastly underutilize indie darling Mark Duplass. If those are the touch points that you need to know to get you into a theater seat, there you go. The movie's good. But the rooms, the back rooms, if you will, oh yeah. Oh hell yeah. I'll let you consume them for yourself in all their glory, but just to whet your appetite. We've got wacky geometry, things where they shouldn't be, stuff fused to other stuff, gosh darn holes in the ground, dead ends, dead friends, holiday cheer, curious snacks, levels, unending unease, and so much more. And who could forget the spooky specters? While I'm not personally invested in the creature side of things, let's just say if you're a fan of Goya, you'll be unpleasantly surprised. And if you, like me, leave the theater wanting more, the internet has got you covered. Kane's YouTube series is a must-watch, but there's no shortage of other videos, games, stories, paintings, music, and more. If it's a form of art, you best believe we're exploring these rooms there. Kane's interpretation may now be the most mainstream, but he did not create these halls alone, neither for the film nor the world at large. Credit for their original conception often goes to this post on the site 4chan, where 2 separate users posted the image and caption, but even they merely gave it a name and a face pulled from our real world, dragged through your psyche like the fleeting recollection of a bad dream, or worse. Calm the hairs on your arms, rinse your spine. You've been here before. There's arguments online on whether Kane deserves a studio film adaptation, on whether YouTubers can be filmmakers, and on whether his depiction truly represents the Backrooms TM, as though one could misrepresent our collective conscious, and as though he hasn't been making films all along. I don't particularly care about these arguments or the discourse around them. I don't care about canon or Kane's age or internet infighting over who's doing what. Kane's voice is just one among millions giving authorship to our memories, but the kid's got something to say. And there's no right or wrong in art. Filmmakers are going to make films with or without you, and with or without me too. The Backrooms are alive and well, and you'd do good to pay them a visit. So come explore, come get lost, come remember with me a place outside of place. These halls aren't going anywhere, but they sure won't stay the same for long. Oh, fuck!